Welcome back to the channel where we talk about everything divine feminine. Welcome, new subscribers. Thank you, subscribers, for liking, sharing, supporting the channel. And if you're a Patreon supporter, thank you very much for your support. Now, today, again, I'm going to help us wake up. We're going to wake up. That's my mission here. Is to dig up this information, share it with you so you can get rid of all the garbage that has been told to us women, and to get out of that programming, that patriarch programming. It's taking some time, but I'm I'm putting in my work and trying to peel back the onion as the great mother revealed things to me. Now, just like they don't like, they like to say Atlantis this, Lemuria that. But if these ancient civilization exist, they would have been ran by women. They were ran by women. That's why they want to bury it. They don't want to find it. And probably if we found those monuments, there are gonna be a lot of divine feminine artifacts there. So they don't want you to find that. So just like they lied to you about everything else, the XY chromosome, he lied to us about Lemuria and Atlantis. And so we're going to cover that right now today. We're going to peel back that onion. And we're going to look at it today. Okay? Today we're going to dive into the past of two legendary civilizations, Lemuria and Atlantis. So they know they exist. You know they exist because some of these men philosophers wrote about them. You know why? Because a lot of them went there to learn. That was the first mecca of learning, Lemuria and Atlantis. Kemet is a bigger civilization. It didn't have as much technologies as Lemuria and Atlantis. So they had to destroy. There was too much technology. With Kemet, they actually regutted a lot of it. They took a lot of it out. Okay? And you got to remember, they unalived so many women. So the newer generation had really no idea on how to tap into a lot of that technology, because their ancestors had been unalived. These advanced societies thrived under matriarchal leadership, embodying balance, harmony, and a deep spiritual connection with Earth. But their legacy was forever altered by extraterrestrial intervention, the arrival of the Anunnaki. Let's uncover the truth about how these beings invaded these utopian societies and created the XY chromosome for labor and restructured the balance of power and subjugating women to subservient roles. Okay, so we see them first arriving in Sumeria. That is the first indication. It's when they arrived in Sumeria. And for me, Sumeria is sort of like a laboratory. That's where the laboratory was to create the XY chromosome. You have all the kings. This is what men trace back. When they look at things, they're going to go back to Sumeria, because they can trace their king back to those 400,000 years. This when the XY chromosome was given domination over women. We go look back in Sumeria. And there is definitely a lot of images of the Anunnaki in the Sumerian Pantheon. So we know they came in contact with these men. We know they created man, Adam Kadam, the first XY chromosome, they say. According to many esoteric teachers and spiritual researchers, Lemuria and Atlantis were ancient civilizations that existed tens of thousands of years ago, long before recorded history. So who was here first? The XX chromosome. Who would have been ahead of those civilizations? The XX chromosome. Lemuria was often called Mu and was said to be a paradise of spiritual enlightenment where the feminine principle of nurturing intuition and cooperation was at the forefront. The people of Lemuria were deeply connected to nature and worked in harmony with this energy. So the supreme being was a cosmic, and she was a cosmic, the original cosmic being and a planetary guardian. Because she was a part of this nature that interconnected to herself. That's why women have that innate intuition. It keeps us interconnected cosmically, physically, to the elements here. Atlantis, while more technology advanced, also operated under matriarchal principles. During its early phases, women were leaders, scientists, spiritual guides, and the keepers of sacred knowledge. These societies thrived because they understood the balance between masculine and feminine, aka masculine and feminine. Why am I saying aka? Because the ancient mothers there was no masculine. There was no masculine, so they didn't understand the energy like that. It was just yin and yang. It was dark energy and light energy. They knew how to metaphysically use both. Okay? There was understanding dark energy and understanding light energy. And then we have the patriarchs of the Anunnaki coming in later, trying to cosmically connect themselves to this planet, naming it masculine and feminine. Because there was nothing but feminine around. But yet these energies were here. And we knew how to work with them. That's why you have the yin and yang being black and white. One is dark and one is light. That's simple. Darkness and light. Okay? We don't call night bad because it's night, do we? No, we don't call the night bad. It's just a night. Okay? Does it attract, other creatures and animals that come out at nocturnal animals? Yeah. Because it's nocturnal energy. Okay? So we didn't understand it as masculine and feminine. And they used the harmony to create thriving cultures of innovation, art, science, and spirituality. Okay, so they understood this dark energy and light energy, and they were able to use it. You might call it the ethers. Like you got positive ions, you got negative ions in the ethers. They knew how to use this energy. It's just that simple, beloved. It doesn't get complicated until the patriarchs come in and start labeling things, writing themselves into our technology, our stories, our sciences. That's when things get twisted. But then came the Anunnaki, these being described in Sumerian texts as gods from another world. Now, I just talked about that. Sumerian gonna say, hey, they always go back to them when XY chromosome want to validate, because that's where the Abrahamic religions came from too, in near Samaria, right there in the smack dead, right over there by Kemet. Okay, so they use this area right here to create the XY chromosome in Samaria. I talked about that in one video on Patreon. If you're interested in that video, you're welcome to watch it. I think that video, if you just want to see the video, is just $3. But I broke all that down in that video. They arrived on Earth with their own agenda. According to some interpretation of the ancient writings, the Anunnaki sought resources, particularly gold, to sustain their planet. Again, if you were a cosmic being from here, there is no way you would be taking resources and plundering resources, because you've already developed a balanced ecological system that works just fine. You already know the mineral here, the elements here. You're trying to keep Mother Earth balanced. So there's no way that you would go in and disturb that balance. There's no way. And so you can see men taking on that same parasitic behavior. You look at the behavior, it tells you a lot. When they encountered the advanced civilization of Lemuria and Atlantis, they saw opportunity to exploit not only the Earth's resources, but also its people. That's what happened here. Okay? We tried to help them. We were peaceful people. We were truly the angels in physical form, trying to help them because they couldn't replicate themselves. And another thing too, the frequency on this planet was so high, they couldn't stand it. The frequency was much higher than it is now. Okay? Everybody was walking around in a higher frequency. They couldn't stand it. They could not stand it. All right? They had to lower the vibration as well when they created the XY chromosome, because that energy was bringing in too much insight and the frequency was too high for these beings. The Anunnaki was impressed by the knowledge and wisdom of women who led these societies. These women taught them about earth cycles, the power of crystals, the secrets of sacred geometry, and the art of healing. The Anunnaki learned about the interconnectedness of life, the spiritual sciences, and the principles of balance and harmony. But instead of honoring this wisdom, they sought to control it. Okay, this is when they have the XY chromosome. They made the XY chromosome. They told him to learn everything he can. That's why you have a lot of these men going in to sit with these priestess. Even the word wisdom, that comes from a woman. Wise, wisdom. Sophia itself means wisdom. Okay? No matter how they try to avoid it, everything is going to lead back to the Divine Mother. You have the motherboard in some of these computers. Without the motherboard, nothing operates. Just like the Matrix, ma. It's always going to end back to the divine feminine. He's tried hard to cosmogenetically link himself in there, but he is not, because the whole universe was made from a contraction. And what contracts? The woman when she's giving birth. He thought by reassigning these things, reassigning himself to the sun and making the universe, which is Universe, seem like it's unimportant. But even that universe, Universe, is of the supreme cosmic being. Even when we talk about those seven sisters relate to the seven planets. Is it making sense to you now, beloved? The things that they have told us and misinformed us about. These women taught them about earth cycles, the power of crystal. Oh, okay, we got over there. But instead, to honor the wisdom, they sought to control it. Just looking through my notes here, bear with me. This is where things take a darker turn. Okay, when they start learning all this stuff, we start teaching about the planet because we want them to live in balance with the planet. We don't want them taking nothing off balance because we work hard to set up this ecological system. The Anunnaki, using their advanced genetic technology, which it was not advanced. We had the advanced technology because they could not replicate themselves. An advanced technology doesn't come in and start taking gold. They would learn how to make gold. And you'll hear that a lot among the men occult. They want to turn things into gold. Okay? They was wanting to turn things into gold. But metaphorically, they were supposed to ascend in spiritual evolution. That's what that's about. But you'll hear that being talked about a lot. The Anunnaki, using genetic technology, are believed to have tampered with the human DNA. And we got Hugh Man. That's letting you know he made a variety of men, different complexions. Many spiritual researchers and alternative historians suggest that they created the XY chromosome to design a labor force. By introducing the male chromosome, they aimed to create a population that could be physically stronger and more suited for the labor intensive tasks required for mining and other resource extraction. See what I'm saying? They got to take in technology, they got to take in resources. Like I said, if you were a cosmic original being, you wouldn't be doing that. This genetic modification marked a significant shift in the human evolution and societal dynamics. It changed everything. They had to extract also that frequency because it was literally hurting them. That's why they work hard to keep us on a low frequency too. Once the Anunnaki established their dominance, they began restructuring society. Women who had been custodians of knowledge and leaders of the advanced civilizations were systemically pushed into subservient roles. The Anunnaki patriarchal structure replaced the matriarchal system and the matriarchal system and the spiritual intuitive practice of feminine were dismissed as inferior or irrelevant. That's when we have men trying to base everything on science. They're trying to intellectualize everything because they don't have an interconnectedness to this planet or to the cosmos. Okay? This is why women are born intuitive. We already have that link. The shift wasn't just physical, it was psychological. Over time, generations were conditioned to believe that men were natural leaders and women were meant to serve. This imbalance disrupted the harmony that had once allowed Lemuria and Atlantis to thrive. You're hearing it here, beloved. Now, let's take a moment to reflect on the incredible advancements of Lemuria and Atlantis because it's being repackaged to us today because they build off the original flower of life. Notice they call it a flower. And what else do they call a flower? The yoni. The yoni is associated with the flower of life. We understood those the genetic material. We also understood that cosmically we understood the atoms here. That's why it's called the flower of life. It is the genetic coding that's throughout the ethers here that make up the ethers. Again, we go back to the matrix, we go back to the motherboard. We can say the flower of life is the motherboard, but they also learn how to distort the flower of life by taking out some of the material. You can go look this up yourself. These civilizations were pioneers in using crystalline energy. Lemurians, for instance, used crystals not only for healing, but also for communication and energy storage. This advanced understanding of Earth's natural resources allowed them to live sustainably for millennials. Like there were already lights here. We had light, we had electricity, we had communication. We had this already. I know that's hard for you to believe, but when they talk about that Tartarian civilization, they are talking about the matriarchs. They were the first teachers, the first writers, the first scientists, the first protectors, the first providers. That's where all these men learned this from. The XY chromosome learned everything from the supreme cosmic being. Atlantis, on the other hand, was known for technological marvels, including devices that harness the Earth's electromagnetic field for energy. Some researchers even speculate the Atlanteans had flying vehicles powered by this energy, as well as advanced medical technologies that could regenerate cells and extend lifespans. We already had that. They're taking it and doing something else with it. Again, they're going into robotics. Again, they are very interested in replicating themselves, but they have to be able to replicate themselves in a body with a lower frequency that's not going to evolve, that's not going to interface with the cosmos or this planet. That's why they've been working hard at this robotic society, this artificial intelligence. Okay, they want the rep. They really don't want to use women anymore. We're starting to wake up and find out what they're doing. We're waking up smelling the coffee. That's why this 4B movement is jumping off. This has happened before. We woke up again, they put us back to sleep, and they had to reset it. So, going forward with caution into the future, because again, with all these covert laws and stipulations being put on women, I think women need to be concerned. And yet these achievements were overshadowed by the Anunnaki's exploitation. By taking control of these technologies, the Anunnaki not only suppressed the feminine wisdom, because they took that over. When they renamed philosophy, because it was Sophies at first, there were women, there were wise women. Sophie itself means wisdom. It comes from a woman. These men had to learn that because they did not understand the interconnectedness to this planet. And even so, when they learned that, they wrote these occult books, rewriting them unto themselves. They rewrote them to inject themselves in it. They had to come up with these rituals and all that stuff. But at the end of it, they still have to bow down to a divine feminine. No matter how they scrambled it. That had guided these societies, but also turned their tools into instruments of domination. So they used everything that women taught them And just like a narcissist, he'll mirror you, he'll act like you, he'll even steal your personality, your identity, only to turn around to use it on you. These are the parasitic entities that we're dealing with when we talk about the XY chromosome. They don't understand their nature. They're just like, oh, we're from Anunnaki. We're from Anunnaki. That's not a level up. Because these Anunnakis help you destroy civilizations of women. They keep that out of history, because if they tell you that Holocaust was worse than the Holocaust on African Americans, it would be jaw-dropping to you. You would not want to connect with the XY chromosome if they told you that. That's one of the first things they go in and do when they go to war. They go in and sexually assaulting women, taking over the girls, unaliving the older women. That was the practice of war back then. And sometimes now, I've heard it is still practiced. One question we must ask ourselves: why were women targeted? The answer lies in a unique connection women have to creation itself. They had to. If you read the book, The Great Cosmic Mother, if they subject and control the woman, they can control civilizations, because the woman was going to pass all that dysfunction on to the children. And we have. And we still are. A lot of us can't get out of this programming. Some of us still centering everything around a man, around the XY chromosome. And did you know when they first created the XY chromosome, they had to be careful, because within so many months of the pregnancy, the fetus, the XY chromosome, was in jeopardy of not living through the pregnancy. You also had XY chromosome children who more susceptible to sicknesses and disease. Again, because you're not originally from this planet. It took them some evolving and tweaking for them to be able to sustain life here. As life givers, women embody the principles of nurturing and balance. The intuitive understanding of the interconnectedness pose a threat to the Anunnaki's hierarchical exploitative agenda. They don't want women waking up. They're going to act like they don't hear you. They're going to act like you're inferior. Again, that's what the narcissist do. The narcissist doesn't keep you at bay and treat you like that because you're inferior. They do that because you are superior. And they cannot let you get a heads up, any leeway whatsoever. That's why it's good for women to start their own organizations, to start their own leadership, because he is not going to do it. And you're not going to be able to do it in a system that he created, because it's corrupted for him. Usually the system they create are a lower frequency. Look at our justice. Look at our law. They'll say Lady Justice, but do people really get justice in these court systems? It is a gamble. It's important to remember that women in Lemuria and Atlantis were not just leaders, they were also educators. They taught the Anunnaki about the spiritual laws of the universe, sacred geometry, and the balance between cosmic and earthly energies. The irony is that the very knowledge the Anunnaki used to dominate humanity was imparted to them by women they later subjugated. Okay, so when we're talking about these Anunnakis, you need to understand who they are and what they did. And so when we hear men talk about it, it was like, oh, they tweaked the human DNA. No, they tweak your DNA. Because XX was already here. Our stories, we came from the water. Our bodies exemplify that. Most of women's body, we have more water in our body than men do. When we get pregnant, we have water to keep the baby in. See, he wasn't used to that. That's why he had so many problems on trying to come into this physical reality. You turn down all the walls now. You ain't got no excuse not to know. If you want to stay blind, you got to want to stay blind. Because there's too many of us out here talking to you, telling you that the XY chromosome comes from parasitic material. That's why he behaves the way he does. He's acting like the thing that created him. So what can we learn from this story? First, we must recognize the importance of the balance of between masculine and feminine energies. But we're not going to say that here because there was no such thing there. There's dark and light energies. He is not supposed to be here in the fashion that he's in. He doesn't even understand dark and light energy. He had to put himself in it because he didn't understand those energies. They put themselves wherever they needed to assert they were first. That's why they wrote all these books, these occult books and all this stuff. They had to seem like they were first. The disruption of the balance has had a long-lasting effects not only on the gender dynamics, but on the planet as a whole. Second, we must reclaim the wisdom of the ancients, particularly the spiritual intuitive practice that honor the earth and its cycles. Now, if we came out of those churches and start trusting what the Great Mother put on the inside of us and being moved by that intuition, we would get a lot further. But because they got all this programming that tell you that your intuition ain't real, you crazy and all that stuff, it has really stopped us from making progress. Or you call women that do call this out, you call us evil, we bitter, we this, we that, and we're telling you the biological science truth. Finally, we must empower women to step back into the leadership roles, not as reversal of patriarchy, but a restoration of harmony. So don't think that we're trying to dominate men. That's not the intention here. The intention is to put things back in harmony. And how does that happen? That happens when the original cosmic supreme being is in her rightful place and state. Don't think that men are going to help us. If they would have, if they would have did, they would have done it by now. They're not going to do that. So if you're looking for a man to come save us, that's not going to happen. Women have to take accountability and responsibility because you are the original planetary guardian here. You are the host of a parasitic entity. That's what we have been functioning as, a host for a parasitic entity. I'm going to break that down for you so you can understand that, so you won't be in the dark. So when they talk about Lemuria and Atlantis, they're talking about the golden age. They're talking about when women ruled. when the earth was in its golden stage, utopian stage. We didn't need money because everything we needed was all around us. We set up sophisticated ecological systems that provided for everyone. Okay? The story of Lemuria, Atlantis, and the Anunnaki is a cautionary story, but it's also a call to action. By understanding our past, we can shape a future that honors the wisdom of our great mothers. Now, thank you so much for joining me in this video today. I'm getting ready to close out this video now, not without providing you some bonus clips of other people saying the exact same thing that I'm saying, even a man. Maybe you'll hear it coming from a man's mouth. Okay? So I want you to watch these clips, and I'm going to go ahead and close out. What do you think about this video? About Lemuria, Atlantis, and the Anunnaki? What do you think? I want your comments on there. Put it in the comments. I want to hear. I want to keep this conversation going on. But I'm going to close out with these clips to kind of give you a basic breakdown of what I just told you. So thank you for being here with me. Like and share and subscribe to our videos. Light, love. Namaste, Ashe, beloved. May the Great Mother keep you. I hope you enjoy these bonus videos.
Story of the Bible when the people of Moses chose to quote-unquote worship the golden calf. That story is an allegorical for the people turning to the matriarchs. The matriarchs represents the system, and the system represents not just free energy, but also represents the woman handing down the succession of rule of the earth down to another woman, such as patriarchy do now. The magnet symbol is affiliated with the goddess and the goddess only. This magnet symbol is ignored, not elaborated on, and is even left a mystery because it leads to free energy. Magnets oscillates and exudes free power. And the Earth's terrain is a giant magnet. This magnet symbol was once revered all over the 6 patriarchal continents of men. This magnet symbol represents prominence and dominance. The woman and the woman only is affiliated with this symbolism because Mother Nature provides free energy elements or magnetic elements to us for free. So we can build our homes, foundations, societies, and everyday modules. Everything about the earth is magnetic. That's why we call the earth a magnetic field. Magnetism is female consciousness, and that's what this symbolism represents as well. There are certain magnetic ley lines that are extremely powerful, some more powerful or magnetic than others. Magnetism represents female consciousness, and that's what this symbolism represents as well. It represents a plethora of matriarchal, magnetic, undecoded phenomenon spectrums. This symbolism is key to life. Before patriarchy, before presidents, there was magnetic matriarchal societies that left vast, intricate symbolism of magnetism and magnetics, called advanced societies. It's a time of spiritual awakening right now, a time of revelations that's causing our DNA spiritual downloads and consciousness shifts. The Temple of Hathor, which I mentioned earlier, is also called the Temple of Dendera. And this magnetic goddess temple displays the mastering magnetic symbolism that the Earth's terrain is a magnetic power generator. So with a magnetic foundation connecting to the magnetic foundation of the Earth, our homes will power freely. So why don't any of us have magnetic homes? This symbolism was left behind because at the times of these magnificent magnetic matriarchal societies, there were extreme gender wars between men and women taking place. This symbolism also represents the woman's sexual reproductive system or her uterus as a oscillator, which is extremely profound. This magnificent matriarchal symbolism represents that she is a soul or solo progenerator. The woman's uterus is a magnetic oscillator that can absorb the magnetism of the earth in blissful abundance and experience what is called human parthenogenesis, which is when women conceive and procreate life with no male counterpart. Mentions in the patriarchal Bible of this magnificent magnetic feature is dubbed the Immaculate Conception. The fact that women can procreate with no male is why women was praised, deified, and worshipped just 2,000 years ago. To procreate life solely is a God act and men cannot give birth. The female sexual reproductive system cannot be replicated nor reproduced. So I'm reaching out to matriarchal sponsors to bring back matriarchy. Let's build magnificent, magnetic, matriarchal societies and communities that powers freely off the earth. Men, let's get the earth back to women. It seems like they rule better and leave better symbolism. Calling out to all humanitarians, scientists, philanthropists, the spiritually enlightened, to build a magnetic earth. Matriarchs rising.
Genetically modified, unnatural, parasitic, recessive being. I know this sounds harsh, but I need women to pay attention and understand what a male is so that when you're doing business with them, you know the nature of this being. Well, if we understand the nature of a genetically modified being, well, what do? They want to take over that which created it. And men think they're supposed to take over women. They think they're supposed to run things even though they're not natural. If we're talking about getting back to nature, how do you think you're going to get back to nature with a being that's not natural? And again, that's not a diss to my brother. I'm just telling you what the facts are. How do you follow a being that comes from you? That's like you trying to follow the child as the mother. No, the child's supposed to follow you. And we're going to get into that in a second too. But the nature of a genetically modified being is to take over that which created it. Also, the nature of a parasitic being is to make the host think that it cannot live without the parasite. And when you understand the nature of the being, then you better know how to contract with it. You will know better how to contract with the being as opposed to it's coming in and you thinking, oh, well, I thought we was equal and I thought you respected me. The nature of a GMO being and a parasitic being is not to respect the host. They want to take over. They want to control.
Male thinks like a virus. He thinks like a virus. A virus cannot exist without a host cell to inject its DNA into. The only way a virus can reproduce is through a host cell, a daughter cell. The male, the pick-me female, and the male have the thought process of a virus.